You're listening to the Sisters in Loss podcast, a faith-based grief and loss podcast for Black women, where you will hear stories of miscarriage, infant loss, stillbirth, and infertility to learn there is a testimony in tragedy. You will learn how to heal, gain clarity, find hope and peace, and turn your pain into your purpose after loss. I'm your host, Erica M. McAfee. Happy New Year 2019. We are here, Sisters in Loss. Welcome to 2019 and welcome to episode 78 of the Sisters in Loss podcast. It's day 2 into the new year, and I wanted to kick off the new year with a best of Sisters in Loss series. So today's episode is a compilation of all the podcast episodes in 2018 that you love the most. You love hearing about fibroids, what we can do to eliminate them, just infertility journeys, SID stories, second trimester miscarriages, and infant loss stories. So on today's episode, I'm highlighting clips of episode 55 guest Gessie Thompson, who talks about uterine fibroids and how we can eliminate them through diet and exercise. We're going to talk to episode 71's guest Geneen Fitchett, who really goes into sharing her story and really how God got her through that journey. We're going to talk back with episode 58 guest Courtney Arlesia, who talks about her second trimester miscarriage journey and really her out of body experience and how to get back into God's word after loss. And then lastly, we're going to talk back with episode 65 guest Qiana Wright, who shares her infant loss story due to daycare negligence and really how she had to look for a group or create a group that could be of assistance to her going through her journey, since her journey was a little different than some of the other stories that she saw online. So this episode is for you to listen to if you just want a quick synopsis of all of the episodes that were so popular in 2018. And I hope that you all listen to the end, because I'm excited about next week's episode, which is a solo episode, and we'll talk about what my personal journey this year in infertility and what my husband and I plan to do in 2019 to continue to grow our family. So we're going to jump right into it. Here is the best of series of 2018. Happy New Year to you all. Hope that you enjoyed your holiday season. If you have not rated and reviewed the podcast, please go stop the podcast right now and give us a review. Talk to you soon. In episode 55 of the Sisters in Loss podcast, Gessie Thompson takes us on her journey of having uterine fibroids and going through multiple IVF treatments in order to have her daughter. She almost lost her life. And in this clip, she shares really how she healed spiritually and then physically with changing her diet in order to eliminate the uterine fibroids that were in her body after her hysterectomy. So here's Gessie Thompson talking about how she healed herself from fibroids.
You lost something that devastated you. You need to acknowledge and give yourself the space and the time and the community, because there are people who you're not going to feel comfortable talking about it when you hurt all the time. And you're going to tell yourself, oh, they're going through something. They don't want to hear my pain. And some of the people will be there for you, and they'll keep telling you that they're for you, and let them be there for you. But then there will be people who move on. Mm-hmm. Don't worry about the people who move. They're not called to walk with you in the process. Find the community of people, whether it's a support group. That's why in our coaching program, that with the Hope Beyond Fibroids Elimination Program, we deal with the pain. We go through what are those triggers, what are those things that you've been holding on to. Where did the clock stop? Mm-hmm. You know, where did the clock stop? Where did you lose hope? Where did you lose hope? Where was your hope shattered? Because these are the places that disease entered your spirit, your mind, and then infiltrated and took over your body.
Wow. So let's talk about the Detox Now and the Hope Beyond Fibroids program, and really just tell us a little bit more about the program, and then one thing that we could do, that listeners could do today to help eliminate inflammation in their body?
Sure. Okay. So the first thing is, when we formed the Hope Beyond Fibroids Elimination Program, it was, number one, to address those three triggers, the three ways estrogen dominance, because what we deal with is the root cause. Because you have surgery, it's not going to deal with the root cause. Fibroids are the symptom. Endometriosis is the symptom. It's wreaking havoc in your life, but it's the symptom. It comes from the root condition, which is the estrogen dominance. Okay? And that's why, for me, I had 5 fibroid surgeries. They kept coming back. For some women, they'll have the fibroid surgery once, but then they develop endometriosis after. Maybe it didn't come back as fibroids. Maybe it came back as weight you can't get rid of. Maybe it came back as cysts. Maybe it came back as your thyroid is off now. There's some sort of hormonal endocrine disruption. And it's because the root cause is still present in your body. So when you're dealing with the symptoms, what happens when you hack away the leaves, Erica?
Yep.
The tree's still rooted. It's still rooted. The disease is still rooted in your body, right? And it's just going to find other ways to manifest. It's not the same way and greater. Every time the fibroids came back, they came back more aggressive, more symptomatic in my life personally, right? Mm-hmm. And so understanding that the three triggers, and I want to stop to say we literally have a free teleseminar, and our goal is to educate on the root conditions of estrogen dominance, how it develops in your body, the linkages between estrogen and cancer, and the difference between estrogen and progesterone, our true female hormone, and estrogen and testosterone, the true male hormone. Okay? Mm-hmm. And I want everybody to please listen to the free teleseminar we have. It is literally, people, they're like, man, this thing is so potent. You guys should charge for it. But we're like, no. One of the greatest things we want to do is educate you, okay, to become your own expert of your health, to become your first advocate, okay? So you can download that free at detoxnow.com/gift. Okay. Now, break that down further. So estrogen dominance, it develops in your body through 3 ways. Stress, the cortisol levels that are pumping your body. That's one of the entries. And stress is not just fear and anxiety. The cortisol pumps our body through pressure. People who have high pressure lives, they're always on the go. There's no margin in their lives. They don't know how to say no. They're the perfectionists. These are all ways that pressure is actually pumping your body with cortisol, right? Mm-hmm. Then that's a heavy toxin. Then there's also your diet. Your diet is a major source of estrogen in your life because most of the foods that we eat are estrogenic. Mm-hmm. Okay? And that's from, everything from animals to plants. And because we don't have a lot of information, because we haven't been taught. So that's part of why we want to educate around stress, diet, and pollutants. Pollutants are everything from, the beauty products that we use, the plastics that we put our food in, the air that we breathe, the hair products that we use, the toothpaste. It's in so many things. And what we educate people to do is to eliminate the estrogen. And the way we structured the Hope Beyond Fibroids Elimination Program to where we've had testimonies to, like you saw the testimony, Annalisa's testimony. Right. She eliminated, Annalise Henry eliminated 3 fibroids on our program. 50. Wow. And we had our MRI documented report with us at the studio the other day when we were there. Mm-hmm. And you can listen to her full testimony right at the detoxnow.com, the testimonials tab. Okay. So you can hear, because she goes in great length, great detail. You could also see her interview there as well. But the key thing is that the way the program is structured is through coaching, nutrition planning, herbal supplements, and daily practices. So it's very holistic, right? Because through the coaching, we teach you how to rewire the way you process stress. We provide the community the accountability and the support to create a sustainable lifestyle of healing. Mm-hmm. We teach you how to use your food as your medicine, because what we are eating is either healing or hurting us. There's no way around it, Erica, right? Mm-hmm. It's healing or hurting us. This is the good news. We get to choose what we put in our mouths. We choose it all the time. If we don't have information about what is anti-inflammatory, what is inflammatory, what foods are electric, what foods are estrogenic, we won't make the best decisions for our bodies. So that's why the second part of the program is, again, the coaching, the nutrition plan that provides meal plans, information, constant resources, and then there's the daily practices, right? And the herbal supplements. So the herbal supplements they provide the gap in the minerals so that your body can actually eradicate the estrogen dominance, right? So it helps to actually cure the estrogen dominance, the root cause in your body, so that your body now starts to starve the fibroids, starve the endometriosis, right? Bring the balance in your body so it actually disrupts infertility. We had one sister who was unable to conceive. Her name is Danielle. She was unable to conceive for 12 years.
Wow.
She and her husband never able to conceive for 12 years. And she gave birth to Monet. Monet is now going on 2 years old, and they're expecting a second child.
Oh, wow.
Which is amazing.
That's amazing, right? Yes.
Amazing. And the thing about it is that the body knows how to heal itself, Erica, right? The body is designed to heal itself. So what we're helping you do is to become the hero in the story of your healing and stop being the accomplice in the story of your disease. Because that's what we have been. We've been that, but we didn't know better.
We didn't know,
you know. So there's the coaching, the nutrition plan, the herbal supplements, and the last thing is the daily practices. So that's everything from water therapy to the daily sunlight that you need, you know, vitamin D, hormone development, to, you know, the intake of the proper sleep protocols, just daily practices that help to support the healing process. I like to actually use the analogy of a kitchen sink. Okay, kind of brings it together. And think about your body as the kitchen sink. And, you know, the water, the faucet is on high and the drain is clogged. What happens over time? The water starts to bubble up and floods over and starts to cause damage to your cabinets, to your floors, right? And the estrogen dominance has done that. It has bubbled up to the point where now you've developed fibroids, you're symptomatic, all this damage is being done to your body, right? And again, whether it could be endometriosis, put in the inflammatory condition and it's the same thing, okay? Now, the very first thing we do through the coaching and the nutrition plan is, number one, reduce the stressors, right? Teach you to rewire the way you process stress. Teach you to start to value yourself. Make room for, prioritize your health. Teach you how to now, again, be focused on you and saying yes to you and no to the things that are not part of your assignment. We like to say that saying no may make you sad, but it doesn't make me bad. Many times people feel like if I say no to you, it's going to make me bad. If I say yes to you, I am saying no to me. I'm saying no to me being healthy. And that's a big thing people have to learn, right? So again, so the coaching and then also through the nutrition plan, you turn that faucet off. You're not eating steadily flooding your body with the estrogen, right? So turn the faucet off. But the sink is still full because guess what? You still have the estrogen dominance, right? Because the drain is still clogged. So that's where the supplements come in, because their job is to clean out the drainage system, clean out the piping. So because look at that, we have the supplements that help to optimize the function of your liver. That's the Rigid Ease. The supplements that help to optimize the function of your lymphatic system. That's the Phoenix. The supplements that help to optimize to inhibit the estrogen, the essence of fertility, all the 3 core components of the program. And that is helps to unclog the drain so that now your excretory system is able to allow the removal and elimination of toxins, the replenishment of good healthy tissue so that your body's elimination system works properly. And then daily practices help support the overall body's ability to heal itself. Does that make sense?
Yes, it makes sense to me for sure. And if our guests have any questions, you all can go to their website, and I'll make sure I link everything that she mentioned in the description box or in our show notes so that you all can definitely go and look at the free webinar because it's excellent. It's excellent.
Listen, I am very active on Instagram, Coach Gessie, Coach Gessie, and subscribe. We just launched our podcast, so we're making podcast, Detox Living. We just launched it right at thedetoxnow.com, and we're focused on giving you tips, tools, free tips, tools, and testimonials to power your electric living.
Yes, and I'll make sure I link that as well.
One thing I wanted to say: the reason we launched the Detox is because we saw so many people starting to now, and their family members and them, they're no longer taking blood pressure meds. They're no longer on cholesterol meds. Stop taking diabetes. I mean, like they're seeing, wait a minute, this is not even about fibroid. One of our host sisters, her mom did the detox with her just to support her. And she went to her regular exam, and they were like, I don't know what you're doing, but what's going on? cholesterol is normal. And she had been on cholesterol meds for years.
Wow.
She also had a hernia that they had been watching, but completely disappeared. And her mother was like, oh my God, what? She was stunned because she was doing it just to support her. Mm-hmm. But here it is. We were like, see, what happens is when you allow the body to do its job, these are the things that happen. And we were having so much success between the husbands and the wives and the cousins. And we're like, okay, we need to create something just for them because they're not trying to get rid of fibroids. Mm-hmm. And that's what birthed the detox.
Mm-hmm. So lastly, before I let you go, what encouraging words can you leave the mom or the listener that's listening that's been dealing with fibroids and has not yet to get pregnant?
Well, number one thing is that, so there's two parts. One is, I love that you want to be a mom, and I believe with you, and I'm standing with you. And I will walk this journey with you because you are not alone, okay? But I want you to first take the steps necessary to take care of and heal your body. I want you to learn what you need to do to take care of healing your heart and your mind because I know you're hurting and I know it's affecting your body. I know it's affecting your heart and your mind. And I want you to know that there is hope beyond fibroids. There are stories of miracle babies that have literally flooded this world. There are 14 in my book alone. But I want you to know that there's a community here for you. We're here for you. We have information for you to help educate you. It's time to put yourself on the top of your list. And I start with that instead of, change, do this, eat this, drink this once a day, because the truth is none of that is sustainable until you make the first decision, which is my health matters and I'm choosing my health first.
In this clip, we talk with Geneen Fitchett from episode 71 of the podcast, and she really goes into how angry she was with God. So if you can relate to that pain you felt after losing your babies or just going through and battling infertility, she really talks about how she coped with loss and grief after the funeral and how she dealt with the anger towards God in this clip. Here is Geneen Fitchett.
And she looked so peaceful and so beautiful, but I just felt so broken. I felt so hurt. I feel like the worst thing that happens when parents or anyone loses anyone is once the funeral is over and all the cards and flowers stop coming, you have to come back, just you or just you and the other person, to regular life. And that's kind of what happened. We came back. My house was still set up as if a baby should be there, and I had to learn how to kind of live every moment after that, which was a struggle. So that was just a story of how everything happened.
Wow. So tell us about your healing journey, because like you said, after the funeral was over with, how did you go through the process of grieving and getting back to a life that's different, because you're not the same person as you were before your loss. So how did you get back to a new normal, and how did you begin to heal?
So at first, initially I was so angry with God. Like I was so why? Like, would you do this? But it always was so ironic because I always felt like it was like that's all I wanted, was God. Like I wanted my parents and my spiritual parent. I wanted my mom. All I wanted was God. So initially, I don't think I was really healing. I just kind of did nothing. And then I never sleep at night. I always remember being up, crying, and I would Google things. So I'm solution driven by nature, and I just feel like there's an answer to everything. And so I was kind of looking for an answer, like, what do you do next? And I would Google things, and I would just say, like, how does a grieving parent, or what happens when you lose a baby, or things like that, because they didn't know what happened with her. I think the hardest thing for me with healing was I didn't have a reason why this happened with her. They couldn't even classify her as SIDS because they said that her sleeping environment was not of a SIDS case. So the autopsy just reads undetermined. So they don't know. So that's really what I was struggling with. Mm-hmm. Like, did I do something wrong? So I used to just kind of Google things. And then I remember one day laying on the couch and I hashtag infant loss, or I think SIDS or something like that. You popped up. And so I was like, oh, well, I'm going to listen. I never, ever in my life listened to podcasts before, ever. So your podcast popped up and I started listening. So many people I knew from college back home were having kids, and I never had anyone who I knew personally who dealt with a situation like this. So I think around the time that I started listening to your podcast, it was well already in. You had many episodes. So I think every night I would just lay there and just listen to stories, and people didn't really understand like why I did that. Like, how was that really healing for me to kind of hear other people grieving stories? I was always crying and things like that, but it helped me. And you don't ever want anyone else to go through this, but to know that you're not alone does give some type of comfort to you. And I never forget, I think her name is Jamila Davis. She shared her story, and our stories were very similar, losing our daughter. And she was having an Angel Moms brunch. And so I went to go find her Instagram, and this is like literally 2:30 in the morning. And it kept saying it was sold out. So I'm like, no, I'm going to go anyway. This isn't sold out. I feel like I need to go to this event. So I remember clicking on Eventbrite, I think it was, and it was a ticket available. So I bought the ticket, and I said, well, maybe I should buy him a ticket too. So when I went back to buy a ticket, they were sold out. So I was like, well, this guy wants me to go by myself. The event was the next day. I literally woke up 8 o'clock that morning and drove to Atlanta and went to her event. And I think that was...
Wow, this was what, October 2017?
And I drove to that event. And I got up 8 o'clock in the morning. I called my best friend who lives in Atlanta. I'm like, I'm going to come to Atlanta to this Angel Mom brunch. I only had one ticket, so I'm going to just go by myself, and I'll just come see you afterwards. So I got there right around the time it was starting, and I went by myself, but it was just so comforting just to be there. And I think I just kind of felt connected to her because our story was so similar with our daughter. So I had to be there, and it was so comforting just to be there with other women who were sharing their story. There was a woman there who shared her story. I think her daughter was older and was murdered and things like that. But it was just comforting. So I was like, okay, Geneen, this is things you need to do. You need to get into whatever communities that this is, and then you need to, I was always like praying and asking God. We were going to church, and every time we went to church, I would hear these stories and things like that. So we kind of used that with helping to kind of get through this. I did go to counseling. I did one-on-one counseling. However, I didn't really... It was something about when I went to a counselor, if they asked me my story and then didn't ask to like see a picture of her. I don't know why. It just was because I felt like I didn't know if they didn't like this. I held her for 5 weeks. She started to develop a personality. I had this one last picture of her where she's smiling in the picture. So it wasn't really a good experience with my one-on-one counselor, but what she did do was recommend Kinder more for me here in Charlotte. Okay. And that is an amazing group. It is an amazing organization. So I ended up going to them, and I did group therapy. It was 3 couples, including myself, and one lady who was there, and she shared a similar story. But I developed a relationship with those women. We are still friends because it was only for 6 weeks, but I got so much healing every Tuesday from being there, just being able to be around people who I didn't feel awkward on talking about the death of my daughter, or I didn't feel like I had to kind of make sure that they were okay. I think when death happens, sometimes we find ourselves, if we share our story, we want to make other people feel better. Kind of like, oh, well, it's okay. You don't have to cry and things like that. And I just felt like at home there at Kindermore. And on my consultation with them, I knew it was the place I needed to be because after I shared my story with her, she said, do you have a picture of Madison? And I got on my phone, and she looked at almost every picture I had in my phone of her. And I knew, like, okay, this is where I'm supposed to be. So Kindermore did a lot for me. Again, going to church. Someone shared the story of Job with me. And that's a kind of the story I went to. Every time I just started to feel so angry with God, like, why? Like, why are you doing this to me? Why me? Why is this happening to me? And I started to kind of try to get closer with God and change my prayer life too. So those are the things that I use to kind of cope. Finding places where women share my story or a couple share our story, God, and then counseling. And really the group counseling helped me more than one-on-one.
And one thing that I do love about Courtney Arlesia's story from episode 58 is she talks about just really the out-of-body experience that she was experiencing going through her second trimester miscarriage. And I related to it so much. She articulated it so clear exactly how I felt when I was going through my loss. And she really talked about how she had to get back into God's word and really to understand exactly why God was sending her through this journey. So here is a clip of Courtney sharing exactly how that out-of-body experience was and how she really got into God's word. Here's Courtney Arlesia.
Oh, girl, let me tell you. I knew the day I went home from the hospital, because they gave me the option to stay at the hospital longer, and I was just like, my baby's leaving here, so let me leave here too. And so the day I got home, like the heaviness that was in my chest, I knew that there was nobody but God that was going to be able to get me through that. And so in the beginning, like I was saying, how I was very involved in church, and I was ashamed of things like that. So I had started a ministry called Endless Love. It started as a book club, and then I turned it into an at-home Bible study. So before I was pregnant, I was doing that, and so then I stopped because I felt like it wasn't producing the results that I thought it should, and so I kind of went back into living my life the way I was wanted to. But after losing Caleb, it was like a wake-up call for me. The moment I got pregnant with Caleb was a wake-up call for me, like, you're not grown, you need to grow up, you need to get your life together. And so I feel like God was with me from the beginning to this point, but I just knew that he was the only one that was going to be able to get me through it, that he was going to be the only one to pull me out of it. And so I started doing Endless Love again. I started maybe like a few months afterwards. I started doing my in-home Bible study. So what helped me heal was just getting back into God's word and then encouraging and empowering others as well. And not just so much, you lost, your child, but also let me tell you who God is. And yes, I'm experiencing this loss, but God is able, and I believe that he's able. And so just standing on his word and his foundation. Because, I don't see how I would have got through without God. And I think the loss of Caleb, I feel like even though he's not here, he had purpose in my life. And it brought me to so many other different revelations about myself, about my family, about, the woman that God needed me to be. So I wouldn't wish a loss like that on anybody, but I feel like for me, it was necessary to put me in a place that God needed me. I hate that it happened. If I could go back, I would want it to, but I just feel like, that Caleb has purpose. He's still serving purpose in my life. And so it has definitely made me closer to God. And it's definitely made me want others to be just as close to God.
Awesome. So can you tell me about any resources that are out there, resources that you use during your loss and just for other sisters in loss and other pregnancy loss moms?
Something I did was I did counseling through my church for a little while.
Okay.
And so I really didn't realize how many women had experienced that until after I shared my story. So I really didn't have any resources to go to or anything like that. So that's how I kind of made myself available to other women who experience. And I still do. 5 years later, women will reach out to me and just want to talk to me. And I will kind of help them navigate the system of maybe going to get counseling or therapy that can help best meet their needs. But for me at that time, I really just didn't have any resource outside of my counseling with my spiritual leader. And then and just getting in my word and my foundation and just learning bit by bit. And so in the area that I'm in, there are like pregnancy centers and things like that. I'm not for sure how many of them actually talk about pregnancy loss. I kind of feel like pregnancy loss is like a taboo to discuss. So I found some women on Instagram who kind of share their stories as well. But that's what kind of helped me to get to that. Oh, and reading. Let me tell you, girl. I read T.D. Jakes. I was reading Priscilla Shire. I stayed in my word. I stayed in those books, and those were like really, really helped me stay focused and come to terms with it. I think I accepted it head on, and I didn't reject it. And I think that helped me also in the process of being able to go through my healing process. And something I always say to women who call me and want to talk about, their experiences, that for me, the healing journey is going to be continuous. Some days I will be completely fine. Like last year was a good year for me. This year I've had some moments. I know it's only March, but I've had some moments of like, I'm supposed to have a 5-year-old this year. And, I haven't had the opportunity to be blessed with my rainbow baby yet. And so, some days it gets hard because you're like, is that going to be my only child? Or, so I have different thoughts. But the healing process, I feel like you have to heal in moments as they come. So it's never ending.
And lastly here, we have Qiana Wright from episode 64, where she talks about her having a premature baby that spent some time in the NICU, having a miscarriage, and then going through a full pregnancy up until her child was 9 months old, and losing her child to the hands of a daycare provider due to abuse in the daycare. And one thing that I loved about Qiana's story, besides the fact that, I talked to Qiana on a weekly basis, is that how strong she is and determined she is to continue to persevere and move on, and how, she's still wrestling with the struggle of going through IVF and not wanting to replace and bring another child into her home, thinking it's going to replace the child that she lost. So she really talks about how she turned her back to God, how she came back to the church, and really that internal struggle that she's currently dealing with as she is processing litigation, as well as going through an IVF journey to conceive another baby. So here is a clip of Qiana Wright sharing this journey with us and really being open and transparent about it. Here's Qiana Wright.
I was pregnant with my first son in August, and then I found I was pregnant again a year later that August, so 2016. And it was just, I didn't know what to do. So I texted my husband and I'm like, I am pregnant. And so he's like, okay. And our first pregnancy, we didn't tell our families until after our first trimester. So it was like holding a grenade, just to tell them, because my husband's like, we have to wait. We have to make sure we get past the first trimester, blah, blah, blah. So the second go round, I was like, we need to tell somebody right away so that we can have the love and support and the energy, good vibes that we need to make it through these next 40 weeks. And so I ended up telling my parents while I was home, and they prayed with me. My dad is a pastor, so he was just like, we are going to get to the other side of this time. Like we are decreeing and declaring God is going to bless you. So we told them, and then my husband called his parents and let them know. And then we called our brothers and let them know. And those were the only people that we told that we were expecting. And then we kind of found out what we were having. We went through our 20 weeks, but I was just full of anxiety. Those first, I would say up to my 28-week appointment when I lost my son, those first 28 weeks were a struggle. I didn't want to get too attached to my rainbow baby because I was like, if something were to happen, I can't bear it. I don't think I can take it again. And I just was so nervous, such high anxiety. anxiety. But my mom had recommended a book, and it was called the 4-8 Principle, and the subtitle is The Secret to a Joy-Filled Life by Tommy Newberry. And that book transformed my mind and just the energy towards my rainbow baby. There was one part in the book that has stuck with me since, and it was just saying you can't want something but have the thought pattern for something else. So you can't say, I want a healthy, beautiful, bouncing baby, but in your mind, you're like, this baby's not going to make it, or I lost my first baby. He's like, those two thoughts just cannot exist together. You're going to have to side with one of those thoughts. And from that moment on, I just was like, I'm not going to let the loss of my first son, my angel baby, dictate how I feel about this new life that I'm creating. And so from that 20-week period on until I delivered, my mindset just kind of switched, and I was fully locked in and engaged and ready for, the rainbow baby. But he ended up coming early. He came 6 weeks early. And so we had to kind of deal with those issues. He stayed in the NICU for about a week because he came out at 34 weeks, and his breathing was a little irregular. When I went into labor, everything was fine, but he came out and he was struggling to breathe. And so the nursing staff didn't want to alert me. So they're like, we're just going to take him to the NICU for a little bit to watch him. And that 1 hour turned into a week. And so I had to kind of get my feelings in check for that. I had planned to do like the skin to skin and to nurse him, but none of that happened because he was in the NICU. And so just the thoughts of what you feel like mommyhood should be and the reality sometimes do not match up. That's just kind of something that I had to learn through my 2 different pregnancies.
Awesome. So let's talk about parenting after loss. So now that you have your rainbow baby,
yes,
how do you feel you are as a parent since you've had a loss and now you actually have your rainbow?
Parenting is a joy and it's also a challenge. And, just to see my son, sometimes I look and say, man, I wonder what DJ would be doing at this moment, or my rainbow baby's name is Grayson. So just to see Grayson hit those different milestones, he's currently 17 months. And just to think about where DJ would have been sometimes gets me. But, I just have such a deep love for Grayson just because I know the alternative, and he really is like a light. He just brought a certain light to our family after loss. Like my husband, when I was pregnant with DJ, our first, he was like, God had to teach me some lessons because when we were expecting, we were going to change his office into the nursery. And he was like, oh, I really don't. I need my office, my at-home office, and I need this. And he was like, I felt like I was just being so selfish. And so he said through the loss, it just really taught him to live in the moment, to be grateful for those things, that the blessing that children are, because there's an alternative where they can't, they could be taken away, and we had to face that harsh reality. So just being grateful and thankful to have the option to actually be a parent.
Awesome. So let's talk about the resources and tools. You mentioned a book earlier. So were there any other books or resources or tools or podcasts that you listened to or that you reached for during your healing journey?
So initially, I didn't know that there was so many people that had been through loss. And so I ended up, when I was in the hospital, they gave us a lot of information about, we had stillbirth. So they just gave us information about stillbirths, and they actually gave us a list of Facebook, different groups that were on Facebook. So I started out there just because I had no idea where to turn to initially. And so those groups help for a little bit, just to be able to see that I'm not going crazy, that, you know, some of the feelings of, you know, disappointment or anger or even sadness, or, you know, even sometimes those glimmers of joy that you get, you know, just thinking about baby, your angel baby, that I wasn't alone. And so those groups helped me initially just to see that there was a network of families out there who either were going through the same thing or had been through the same thing, and just to see where they were in their different grief journeys helped me. But even as a Christian, and even with my connection through God, and even having a strong village of people to help me, I still felt like I wasn't getting better. And so, you know, I would definitely suggest, if you feel like you're not getting there, if like it's something missing, to seek out some type of additional help. So I was in school at the time, getting my second bachelor's. And so our school ended up having a counseling department, and I was able to get 10 free sessions through my tuition with a counselor who helped me tremendously. And that was my first time seeking counseling. And so I was kind of nervous about that, but she ended up being a godsend as well, just kind of helping me mentally break down what was going on through grief and how I was exhibiting the grief, you know, through my everyday life. So those were two major things. And then I ended up finding Janelle, who is another baby loss mom, who I believe she was on your podcast early when you first started. I met her at a blogging conference a few years prior to me having my loss, and just her reconnecting with her and just letting her know about my loss. And then eventually she helped when I was going through my rainbow baby situation, because she had just had her rainbow baby as well. She just helped me tremendously kind of start to navigate, you know, those different points from loss to going to being a rainbow mom. So those were a few of the resources that I used.
Awesome. Yes. Janelle was back on episode 4. Like, she was way in the beginning of the podcast. Yes. I love Janelle. Shout you out, Janelle.
Yes. And it's actually funny the way that I found you. Through Janelle's like little network of baby loss moms, I met another girl, Renee. And yes, so she's from Michigan, and
she is. Right.
We actually connected through Instagram. So, you know, I always say, if you can and you feel up to it, share your story, because you just never know who you will touch. And Renee heard my podcast, and we ended up, because I was on Janelle's podcast, and we ended up talking, and we've just kind of connected through that. We have like a baby loss friendship. So I met her for the first time in person this summer over lunch, and she's the one that told me about your podcast.
Awesome. Yes. I love Renee. Actually, me and Renee, by the time this podcast airs, it'll already happen, but I am going to do a meetup in Detroit, and she's organizing it. Yeah, she's doing a Sisters in Laws meetup in Detroit. And so we're going to meet in person as well in a few weeks in August.
That's so amazing.
I'm excited to meet Renee, and she's going to be on a podcast in a future episode. So look out. Shout out to Janelle and Renee.
Yes. But
that's
yes,
so funny.
I just like appreciate. It's almost kind of like this little underground railroad of baby loss moms. But I appreciate just to have the support of so many moms who have gone through, you know, similar situations, and just to know that there's that backing of love and support and understanding. So
awesome. So what encouraging words can you leave the mom who has experienced the loss and is looking to try again?
I would just say, number one, stay connected to your higher power, to God. You know, be fervent in your prayers and what it is that you want, and stay on your knees, you know, in prayer, just to kind of keep your mind sane, but also just to take each day one at a time and give yourself grace. There's going to be days when you feel like you may not be able to take on another child just after the weight of grief, but you will get there. there, and just taking it one day at a time is essential. And like I said, give yourself grace, because there are going to be days when you revert back and you're going to be like, why should I even have to do this? I had a perfectly, healthy baby growing inside me that I lost. So why should I have to do this again? But, there is blessings on the other side of that grief. And, you just take it one day at a time. So.
Awesome. So where can we connect with you after this episode? Where can we find you on social media?
So actually, I am working on a book right now. So it should be out in October. The book is called Still Here, and it will be available on Amazon. So probably, I don't know when this episode will air. The launch date is, I'm planning for October 15th during Pregnancy Loss Awareness Month. So my website is going to be www.AliAndeEnterprise.com. So you can find me there, and then I'll also be on social media under those same handles as well.
Awesome. So since we have you here, go ahead and tell us a little bit more about your book.
Yes. So it's called Still Here, and the subtitle is A Memoir of Love, Loss, and Triumph After Stillbirth. And it's just kind of my journey. It took me 2 years to write. So I started writing and kind of adapted from some journal writings that I had been doing when I initially lost DJ, up to the point of me now as a rainbow mom, and just kind of my different stages of grief. You kind of see it because I wrote it within 2 years. So the beginning is more the raw, like first hand feelings of what it feels like after that initial loss. And then throughout the book, you kind of get to see the progress of what loss and grief looks like once you're a little further removed from it.
So I hope that you all enjoyed all of the different clips from the best of Sisters in Loss from 2018. I hope that your new year is kicking off right, and that you are going into the new year with an open mind. And my word for 2019 is relentless. So join me next week, next Wednesday. It's a solo episode where I'll be deep diving into really what relentless means to me, how it plays a role in the next steps of my grief journey, my journey to having more children, and really what that looks like from a business perspective, spiritually, physically, and then really for this community. How are we all going to continue to be relentless with our goals going forward in 2019, and not letting grief triggers and roadblocks and things stop us from achieving all that God has called us to be? I hope and pray that you all had a blessed holiday season. We're in 2019, guys, now. Time to continue to move forward and carry out what God has called us to be and do, and live a life on purpose. I hope to see you all next week. If you have not rated and reviewed the podcast, please be sure to do so. Next week, I plan to share some of the reviews that you all have left, and that will be a part of the podcast going forward in 2019. So leave your reviews so that I can highlight your comments of the favorite show that you loved from 2018. If you loved any of the clips from the Best Of series, and I hope to talk to you all soon. Join us in the Facebook group at sistersinloss.com. Bye. Thank you so much for listening to today's episode. I pray that this show was inspirational and a blessing to you. For show notes, visit ericamcafee.com/podcast. Please join us in our offline discussions in our private Facebook group by going to sistersinloss.com. If you're listening in Apple Podcasts, please rate and subscribe to us and leave us a 5-star review. I pray that you all have a blessed week. Keep the faith, and I'll talk to you next Wednesday.